in the afternoon as well, with west winds gusting upwards of 30 miles per hour once more. Partly cloudy on Friday, inland highs in the upper 70s, upper 60s by the lake, and then mostly sunny throughout the weekend, but cooler than average. Temperatures on Saturday, upper 60s inland, lower 60s at the lakefront. Sunday, lower 70s inland, looks like mid 60s at the lake. We warm things up, bring back partly cloudy skies on Monday, with highs in the upper 70s inland, upper 60s at the lake. From the WGN Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Mike Chance.
79 right now at O'Hare, 78 at Midway. It is 74 degrees at Chicago's lakefront. A former federal judge selected, I should say, a former judge selected to advise on a path forward in the criminal case against Michael Flynn is accusing the Justice Department of distorting the justice system to protect an ally of President Trump by trying to shut down the prosecution. His report referred to, quote, clear evidence of gross abuse of prosecutorial power, end quote. The former federal judge is recommending that the judge in the case proceed to sentence the former Trump national security advisor on the false statement charge he admitted to 2.5 years ago. Don't expect to see Chicago police officers take a knee or march with protesters. President John Catanzara tells WGN's Bob Surratt.
I've made it very clear to the members of Lodge 7 that has no place for our members. That is contradicting to our Constitution as a lodge.
He says members face discipline and could even be expelled from the union if found siding with protesters while in uniform. You can listen to the full interview at WGNradio.com. Mayor Lightfoot is responding to the release of a tape in which she's heard swearing at an alderman about the city's response to protests and looting.
One individual who decided to illegally tape a conversation that was intended to be a private conversation among all of us. Shame on him. Shame on him.
She wouldn't release the alderman's name who released the recording, but said it was part of an hour-and-a-half-long emotional conversation. And alderman's language on the tape is even stronger than the mayor's. George Floyd's brother, Philonis Floyd, is testifying at a House Judiciary Committee hearing today on policing practices and law enforcement accountability. Here's the committee ranking Republican on the committee, Jim Jordan, during his opening statement.
The American people understand it's time for a real discussion, real debate, real solutions about police treatment of African Americans.
Meantime, a Central California sheriff's deputy has been wounded after someone opened fire on a Paso Robles police station early this morning. The motive is unclear. The deputy is reported in serious but stable condition. Chicago-based United Airlines is implementing new rules for the passenger check-in process that includes a health self-assessment. Here's WGN Steve Grzanich.
Passengers will have to complete a ready-to-fly checklist either digitally or in person before they get their boarding pass. United Airlines is the first major airline to require this level of health assessment for passengers. The checklist requires passengers to acknowledge they've not been diagnosed with COVID-19 in the last 21 days and have not experienced any of the COVID symptoms in the past 14 days. Steve Grzanich, WGN News.
Let's get a look at WGN Sports. Here's Dave Ennett.
Major League Soccer is the latest pro sports league to announce a comeback. All 26 teams will travel to Disney World later this month to train for the MLS Is Back tournament starting July 8th and ending August 11th. The baseball season would start July 10th under the new proposal from the players calling for 89 games. The White Sox have the 11th pick. The Cubs choose 16th in the first round of the MLB draft tonight. And the Players Coalition has signatures from more than 1,400 sports figures on a letter to Congress supporting a bill to end qualified immunity for police. Dave Ennett, WGN Sports.
Look at your money from Orion Samuelson.
Boeing is aiming to conduct a key certification test flight on its grounded 737 MAX in late June. The 737 MAX has been grounded since March of 2019 after 2 fatal crashes involving the airplane. Simon Property Group, the biggest U.S. mall operator, said today it was ending a $3.6 billion deal to buy Taubman Centers Incorporated, citing the beating that the retail sector has taken since the COVID-19 pandemic. And Ford Motor Company will return to pre-COVID production rates in the United States plants by early July. According to the chief operating officer, he said, we will expect to have all of our U.S. plants operating at pre-COVID patterns and looking forward to the rebound in automobile production and in automobile sales. European food ordering firm Just Eat Takeaways said today it was in advanced talks to buy Grubhub, an all-stock deal that, if completed, would create the world's largest food delivery company by revenue. That's your money on 720 WGN.
79 degrees right now at O'Hare, 78 at Midway. I'm Steve Bertrand on Chicago's very own 720 WGN.
Make sure you breathe clean, healthy air. Green Tea is now offering an in-depth total home disinfectant service.
Service to a Green Tea.
Hi, this is Tonya Khoury from my family business, Green Tea Air Duct Cleaning. Our crews are bonded Green Tea employees you can trust in your home. They'll clean your intakes and returns of dust, mold, and allergens. You'll breathe fresh, healthy air.
800-5 Green Tea.
And now, for a limited time, get our air duct cleaning special, only $97. Yes, our experienced staff will thoroughly clean your air ducts for just $97. Plus, our 100% satisfaction Green Tea guarantee. Call Green Tea now for details. 800-5 Green Tea.
Green Tea Services, service to a Green Tea. 800-5 Green Tea.
Be sure to ask us about our in-depth total home disinfectant service. Call Green Tea now, 800-5 Green Tea, or greenteaservices.com.
I need a dollar, 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 that's what I need. Hey, hey. Well, I need a dollar, 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 that's what I need. Hey, hey. Said I need a dollar, 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 that's what I need. And if I share with you my story, would you share your dollar?
Hey, what do you know? The sun is shining downtown Chicago as I speak. It's 12:08. Good afternoon. This is John Williams. You're listening to the Wintrust Business Lunch. Pete Zimmerman's our producer.
It's been a long old trouble,
and the sun has cracked through a little bit downtown Chicago. It has not been like that here this morning, and some of you have had really severe storms. Hopefully smoother sailing for the rest of the day. We'll keep you posted on all of that here on WGN Radio. Just a quick note about a conversation we had yesterday. We were talking a little bit, as we just did moments ago with Dr. Kevin Most, about the decision that governors, the president, mayors have to make. How much COVID-19 will you allow before you decide to reopen the economy? Or if the economy opens up, how much COVID-19 will you tolerate? And the suggestion was that Texas, which opened up very early, has been doing very well. But in fact, in the last couple of days, the incidence of COVID-19 hospitalizations is going up in Texas. This is today from the TexasTribune.org, the Texas Tribune. For the second day in a row, Texas has reported a record number of patients hospitalized with the new coronavirus. It shows that 2,056 people were hospitalized with COVID-19. This is data released Tuesday. 2,056 people were hospitalized with COVID-19, up from 1,935 the day before. The previous high was May 5th, when 1,888 people were hospitalized. And now the most recent numbers that we have to report are 2,056, a record high of hospitalizations. It sounds as though, according to the Texas Tribune and now CNBC.com, that they're prepared to handle the onslaught. CNBC reports that while Texas was among the first states to relax its statewide stay-at-home order, allowing it to expire April 30th and some businesses to resume operations May 1st, that they do have more than 1,600 open intensive care beds and more than 5,800 ventilators. So they may be prepared for the crisis, but a crisis they do have. Now, what's the line? How much is too much? That's up for the governor to decide there, or the people of Texas.
Can I add another state? According to Forbes, since Arizona lifted its stay-at-home order on May 15th, the cases have increased 115%, reaching record highs and heading officials to call for hospitals to fully activate their emergency plans in intensive care and things like that.
So the impossible question to answer then is, knowing that, what would you do? Knowing that now, what would you do back then? And because
the plan always was that there would be a recurrence of cases.
Right. So what's the line? And they never said, and they would never know. So the answer may be yes, we will tolerate that in the name of giving everybody food on the table. That's the tough spot for these governors. We make it sound as though that the doctors are the ultimate deciders. They're not. The politicians are. And did they know this? No, they did not. Would they have done this had they known? I don't know the answer to that. But yesterday we suggested that the hospitalizations have decreased in Texas. That is not true. It's 12:12. This is WGN Radio. That is part of the business news. And, of course, Terry Savage is always savvy about the money scene. Hi, Terry. Welcome back. How are you?
Good to be with you. Interesting days.
How about the markets, Terry? Now, we're getting mixed signals today. The Dow's off 100. The Nasdaq's up. The S&P's down. What are you seeing in the economy and the markets today?
We're seeing the Fed straighten the headlights. The market is literally holding its collective breath. The Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell, at the height of the panic and the pandemic, said, "We will do whatever it takes. We've got plenty of ammunition." He repeated it in a dozen different ways, which literally said, we will buy stuff so prices don't go down. They bought bonds. They bought ETFs, exchange-traded funds that own bonds. Some people were thinking, would they even go in the stock market and buy stocks? That never happened. But there's been a sense, ever since Powell said that the markets couldn't really go down because the Fed was going to print enough money to save the economy. And that is what's really behind the stock market boom. It's not, as you were just talking about, as if someone gave the all clear on COVID. It's not, yes, the economy is reopening, but it's not as if all restaurants are going to reopen and all retailers and so forth. So the market's back to practically its old highs. I have a post up at terrysavage.com saying this is a rare second chance because the market is not the economy is not where it was in January, but the market is pretty darn close. And if you hated it the last time, you're going to really kick yourself if you miss a second chance to reevaluate how much exposure you need.
Which means maybe now that it's back up to about where it was, if you want to pull something out, this is the time to do it.
Exactly. And this is not about just getting even, because not all stocks have gotten even, but it's been quite a broad-based rally. It's about remembering how panicked you were. And right along I've said, look, if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, you keep putting that $400 a month in your 401k. In this update I said, and by the way, if you're trading stocks on Robinhood, you really don't need my advice, and I'm not talking to you. But somehow, as I've grown older, I guess I'm talking to a generation that is at or near retirement or perhaps in retirement and realizes, hey, this is it. I'm not adding to it. Market declines. Don't give me a chance to buy stocks cheap. This is what I have. And how panicked am I if I see 20 or 30 or 40% of it melt away? Now, you know exactly how panicked you were in March. Good for you if you held on and had the self-discipline. But now, and nobody's saying that the market couldn't go higher. In fact, we did on that show, Dr. Bob talked to him a couple days ago. He said, yep, Tara, well, it's better to be lucky than smart. And I said, you're both, Dr. Bob. Do you still see 30,000 by year end? He said, oh, yeah, these portfolio managers are going to figure out that they have to be invested. They don't want to show cash. We could have a melt-up. So I'm not saying where it's going. I'm saying, how did you feel? And what will make you feel worse? If you take a little off the table now, have a little more cash, sleep better whenever and if ever there's another decline.
Right.
Or not.
All right, but then what about this? Terry Savage, terrysavage.com. 312-981-7200 is the phone number. I'll stop talking to Terry and let you do that now. 312-981-7200. We'll catch up with some business here, Terry, and then take your calls. But you must come back and tell us then, if I do take some off the top, as you say, where should I put it? If I'm in equities in my 401k or retirement portfolio, where am I going to put it? Terry, after a quick break, let's start with Steve Bertrand in the WGN Radio Newsroom.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, John. Talked to the weather forecast is getting better than it was. The storms have pretty much moved out. It's still going to be windy today, but not much worries about severe weather. And in fact, tomorrow looks like an even nicer date, mostly sunny, breezy, and a high of 81 degrees. Right now at O'Hare, it is 83 degrees, 82 at Midway. And on Wall Street, the Dow is down now 103 points. That's off its low. The Nasdaq up 63 and the S&P 500 down 4.
And looking at the roads, there's an accident in Newton County, Indiana, that has now shut down US 41 between County Road 400 and County Road 600. On the south side, Cottage Grove Avenue is still closed between 72nd and 71st because of an earlier fatal accident. Otherwise, there's a crash in West Chicago at North and Elm. Lauren Lapka, WGN Traffic Central.
And they're off. Out of the gate, it's summer's here, followed by biting mosquitoes, ticks aplenty, and yard pests galore. But wait, here comes Mosquito Squad at the turn, blowing away the competition, absolutely killing biting mosquitoes, ticks aplenty, and yard pests galore. These three are nowhere to be seen. It's summer's here in Mosquito Squad, pulling away, coming into the final stretch. It's gonna be close. It's summer's here with Mosquito Squad at your place. Summer's here in Mosquito Squad, a winning combination. Go to MosquitoSquadChicago.com. That's MosquitoSquadChicago.com.
Lou Manfredini here for the Gilkey Window Company. You know, one thing that drew me to Gilkey is they're a family-owned company that cares about your family, too. Gilkey sells their windows directly to consumers, so no middleman markups. They can build better, more energy-efficient windows and pass that savings on to you. Right now, take $1,000 off 5 or more windows, $2,500 off 10 or more windows, and take $700 off patio and entry doors, or no money down and no interest for 12 months. Gilkey offers several options to help you. They'll come to your home, exercising safety measures, or you can visit their Chicago Ridge showroom, open Monday through Saturday, or in Palatine, even open Sundays 10 to 4. If new windows are on your list, give Gilkey a call now and schedule an appointment to get your home renovation underway. Call 1-888-3-GILKEY or visit Gilkey.com today. Choose vinyl or choose fiberglass. Just be sure to choose Gilkey.
In this summer that we'd like to forget but we'll always remember, a lot of Chicagoans are going to be hitting the road in rented RVs. Is it really safer to drive your own bed and toilet around? Those of you who have will tell us. No count of three.
WGN. Right now, it's so important to have your home properly cleaned, isn't it? Clean your carpets, rugs, floors, tiles, upholstery. Hire Executive Green Carpet Cleaning. For a level of clean no one else delivers, they invest in the world's most powerful truck mounts and carpet cleaning machines. I watched them do their work. It's really impressive when they roll in. This ain't something they rented at a hardware store. This is an impressive carpet cleaning truck. They've got the premier equipment that no other carpet cleaner in Chicagoland has. Executive Green Carpet Cleaning. They use ultra-purified water with a safe, detergent-free pre-spray. They never apply harsh chemicals that leave a residue behind. Think about that. And most importantly, they thoroughly scrub and agitate your carpet, a step others just don't do. They'll leave your carpet with a nice, even-looking finish that is dry to the touch in just a couple of hours. For every single job, they utilize this system of important steps. They never take shortcuts. Call now. 3 rooms, $139. If you're not satisfied with the work, you don't pay. It's guaranteed. Call 630-990-8600. Call 630-990-8600. Visit executivegreencarpetcleaning.com. Look for those big trucks with the green hoses. Early mornings, stay safe, stay connected. Morgan Kolkmeyer's weather forecast, Sarah Gindra's traffic reports. That's weekdays from 4 to 6 on WGN TV Morning News. Terry Savage joins us. Wednesdays on WGN Radio. Terry, 312-981-7200 is the phone number. If the market's relatively recovered currently, and I'm going to take something off and put it somewhere safe, where do I go?
Well, that's a sad alternative. It's what my proverbial term chicken money is. Now, if it's outside a retirement account, chicken money is in money market accounts, short-term CDs, less than a year maturity. And it's a problem for people to do that because there's no yield on it. And that is in itself a problem because you put your money there and you know the mantra of the chicken money investor. I'm not so concerned about the return on my money as I am about the return of my money. Now, the second part of that is if you're inside a 401k plan, where do you go? And not all 401k plans have safe hiding places because they're designed, after all, for people who are still working, still contributing, and shouldn't be too conservative. They should be, taking advantage of this opportunity to buy stocks. But you might have something called a stable value fund in there. You might have just an equity income fund. Bond funds are not that safe because if interest rates go up, bond prices go down. And if we have inflation down the road, doesn't look like it today, then bond funds are going to have some losses as well. But outside, you got to settle for very little bit of interest. If you go to terrysavage.com and search my columns, there's a box there. Max My Interest, M-A-X, myinterest.com, is a column I wrote a while back where they will take FDIC-insured bank deposits from online banks, but safe, and give you a chance to earn slightly more. But basically, you're not going to earn a lot in chicken money, but you won't lose a penny.
Let's pick up some phone lines. Terry Savage is on the line. terrysavage.com for those articles. Hi, Carol. You're on WGN Radio, Carol.
Yes. Hi, John. My name is Carol. I'm from Tinley, and a few days ago I heard from a friend, I don't know if it's true, that about 2 weeks ago the Illinois state legislators passed a bill that they will, starting in the fall, tax Social Security, pension funds, 401ks, and IRAs. And I'm just curious if Terry has heard anything of this, and if it's true, how come this isn't all over the news?
Social Security, pension funds, IRAs. What was the fourth one?
401ks and, right. Okay.
Let's let Terry talk a little bit about that. I don't know that she heard everything. Terry, she's worried. She's heard that in the fall, Illinois is going to tax Social Security, pension funds, IRAs. Is there any news along those lines that we missed?
News, but let me just make this as a statement of fact. Illinois is in terrible financial shape without COVID expenses. Ditto the city of Chicago. It's not a secret, and it's been headlines, and I've been writing about it for 10 years. The city of Chicago and the mayor has acknowledged, not that she wants to do it, but the only thing that she's likely to be able to do is raise real estate taxes, which will property taxes drive businesses and individuals out of the city. The state of Illinois already has on the agenda a proposal to, in the referendum this fall, to increase state income taxes. But the one thing that has been excluded from taxation for Illinois residents has been retirement income. And I would say it's a pretty good bet that whether they do get this new tax increase across the graduated tax, or even if they do get that at some point down the road, the state will probably, in order to pay its pension debt, have to move to tax that other income that you mentioned.
Other states don't do that. Other states don't do that way, do they?
There are some states that do,
pardon me,
some states that don't.
Yeah. In fact, I was going to ask you the opposite, that while other states do, we always decry Illinois' tax policies and how onerous they are, but in fact, Illinois is a safe haven for your retirement assets that way. It's one of the things that people like about Illinois, right?
This is one of the things they like. But let's see how. I've been talking. It's funny, this not that I came up with this genius idea or that it's a rumor. It actually has been floated publicly. In fact, as I recall, when the governor came in and first met with the mayor, which is that a year ago? It seems like a lifetime ago. That was one of the trade-offs that the mayor floated, as I recall, to support that kind of adjustment to tax pensions in exchange for some help with Chicago's finances.
Then what I need to do is talk again to some of the legislators in Illinois and ask them where that is. So that's the rumor, and it's maybe more than that in the fall. We'll follow up on that. Thanks for the phone call. And by the way, I'm looking at you, Pete, over there. Terry's line is cutting in and out again. Let's maybe reconnect with her just so we can better hear her answers. And we'll go next to Irene. Irene, you're on WGN Radio. What's your question or comment for Terry? You're on the air.
Hi. Yes, my question is, we have life insurance, term insurance, and our payment went from $250 to $700, and we're both in our 70s, early 70s. What does Terry recommend?
I'll ask her as soon as we get her back on the line. But you have term insurance, and you're paying $250. Now it's $700 a month. That's your premium?
Yes, because my husband is just over 70 right now.
Yeah, well, that's what happens with term insurance. Is Terry back on the line, Pete? Okay, let's see if she can. I'm going to put you on hold, and we'll get Terry back on there. Terry,
okay, I heard that.
Go ahead, Terry. Good, you're on the air.
Okay, so you've had term insurance for 20 years, and then that term expired, and now you have a huge increase?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's the thing with term insurance. When you buy it and you're 40 and you say, well, by then the mortgage will be paid off and the kids will be out of college, I won't need the life insurance. So the first question I want to ask is, do you need the life insurance now?
It's a good question.
Not necessarily. It's a term. It's term and life insurance. It's term.
Okay. But the point is, did you come to the end of your term and then they said, do you want to keep it in place? Here's what you'll have to pay?
No. It just increased. I'm not sure if that's what happened, but.
Well, isn't the relevant question, is your mortgage paid off?
No.
But isn't the question, is your mortgage paid? Do you need that money? If you don't need that money because your mortgage is paid and you've got Social Security or retirement income, just stop paying it. Isn't that the advice, Terry?
Well, I'm not going to give that kind of a blanket advice. That's the first question. Look, number one, everybody who bought term insurance in the last 20 years has bought something called level term. It's guaranteed to stay the same price for a fixed number of years, usually 20 years, some were 30 years. If you got a bill from your insurance company, you need to say, well, call them. Why did this go up? Well, you were at a 20-year term and it expired. But if you want to keep this insurance in force, here's what you'll have to pay now. Now, here are the things you consider. Is this insurance on your life or your husband's?
My husband's.
Okay, how's he feeling? Well, this is Terry Savage, the savage truth.
Well, that's a good
question. How's he doing? You don't want. Okay, if you knew, God forbid, if at this moment you knew that he had an illness, a terminal illness, you would pay that premium because the money would be close. But if you say to yourself, gee, knock on wood, he's doing fine. How much is this going to cost us now a month? And you need to call the insurance company. Is that what it costs this year? Is that what it's going to cost next year? Because now you have no guarantees. So you need to find out exactly what they're asking for. Okay? So talk to your insurance agent. And if you don't, go to AccuQuote.com and call Byron Udell. Now, here's a great piece of Terry's tip. Go to AccuQuote.com online, AccuQuote.com. There's a toll-free number there. I don't have it in my head. Ask for Byron Udell. He is the insurance guru, and he will tell you whether you're getting ripped off by this policy. Maybe you couldn't get a new policy now given your husband's health, and he'll walk you through those questions. It's not a blanket answer.
I'm very good at blanket answers, Terry, and I have no knowledge, so I'm a very dangerous thing. But isn't that the general consideration? Do I need the money? And if it's going to cost me $700 a month, shoot, I'll keep $700 a month if I don't have to have the power.
Let me put it to you another way. I've been paying for years. I have 2 long-term care insurance policies. One is fully paid up. I did that years ago, a lot of money every year for 10 years. The other is a CNA policy, which started out to be $1,800 a year. It's an incredible policy, and I paid $1,800 a year for many years. Must have done this 20 years ago at minimum. And today, I wrote a check for $7,600. But you know why? Because I looked at the reality of it, and I have lifetime coverage with an inflation adjustment, and because I could afford to do that, I'm saying that, but because I know that, God forbid, if I need it, it's going to pay a lot of bills. So everybody's situation is different. Did I grit my teeth and go, oh, my goodness?
Yeah.
How could this be? Just like everything else goes up in price, that's what happened with insurance policies, whether it's life or long-term care. And you have to look at your own situation. Can I afford this? And what is the benefit of it?
Irene, thanks for the phone call. Terry Savage is going to stick with us through the news. The number's 312-981-7200. We have not heard from you about your unemployment insurance compensation, your stimulus checks. If you've got questions along those lines, here's your chance to get them in, too. 312-981-7200. Let's go into the newsroom.
It's 83 degrees at 12:30. Good afternoon. I'm Steve Bertrand. A judicial monitor accuses the Justice Department of abuse of power in the Michael Flynn case. First, a look at traffic. Here's Lauren Lapka.
There's now a crash on I-55 south at Blodgett, backing things up to Arsenal. There's a stalled semi inbound on the Stevenson, partially blocking the ramp to the Dan Ryan. Traffic is heavy inbound on the Kennedy at Ohio, but right now it's just 20 minutes from O'Hare. Also, the express lanes are closed so they can flip outbound. There's flooding on I-80-94 West near the Illinois-Indiana state line. On I-65 North, the entrance ramp at 109th is closed for road work until June 16th. And in Riverside Road is closed northbound between Blooming, Bank, and Pine for work on the railroad tracks. Lauren Lapka, WGN Traffic Central.
The forecast from the Permaseal Weather Center, partly sunny today, might still be a shower or storm around this afternoon and this evening. High 82 this afternoon, 58 the low tonight, and then tomorrow mostly sunny and a high of 81 degrees. Checking the current conditions right now at O'Hare Airport, it is coming in at 83 degrees, 82 at Midway, and 77 at Chicago's lakefront. A former federal prosecutor, judge, blasted the Justice Department for what he called, quote, a gross abuse of prosecutorial power, end quote, in seeking to drop its criminal case against Michael Flynn. Flynn, of course, was President Trump's first national security advisor. The Monitor suggested the judge in the case continued despite the Justice Department's move, saying the government has engaged in highly irregular conduct to benefit an ally of the president. The Chicago FOP says it will punish officers who kneel or otherwise show solidarity with protesters while they're in uniform. The president tells WGN's Bob Surratt they could be kicked out of the union. And the state is reporting its first batch of mosquitoes to test positive for West Nile that came from River Forest and Evanston. Your money on WGN. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is currently trading in negative territory. It has been down throughout the day, and the numbers just aren't popping up for me now, but the Dow has been down about 120 points, the S&P 500 down as well, but the NASDAQ is the bright spot this year. It is still in positive territory. I'm Steve Bertrand on Chicago's very own 720 WGN.
So I fill out your bank's mortgage application.
Can you believe these great mortgage rates?
I know. I'm really anxious to get going.
Okay, your application goes into my inbox, then out of my inbox, and into my outbox, then out of my outbox, and out to the bottom of the mortgage application review stack.
Where it's reviewed.
Where it's assigned to be reviewed.
Okay.
Upon review, it's forwarded to the pending inbox of the pending inbox approval partner's inbox, then outbox.
Sounds like it takes a long time.
No. It takes a really, really long time.
Right.
If your bank is backed up with long delays on your mortgage application, risking a great loan rate, call First American Bank. First American offers low rates, an easy application process, and fast approval, so you can lock in that great rate.
With our bank, you get reviewed, hopefully approved.
And if the great rate is no longer great?
Screwed.
Right.
Let First American handle your mortgage needs. Low rates, fast approval, and outstanding personal service. First American does more for your money. Visit firstambank.com. Call us at 847-952-3700. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
With over 31,000 associates on the front lines, Jewel Osco has superheroes wearing everything from deli aprons and tech coats to bright orange safety vests. We take great pride in the way Jewel Osco people stepped up to provide essential services during these challenging times.
12:35. This is the Wintrust Business Lunch on WGN Radio. Wednesdays at this time, Terry Savage lights up the lines with people with questions for advice. Sometimes I give the answers, and they're often wrong. Okay, let's pick up a couple of phone lines here for you, Terry. Al is on line 3. Al, go ahead. You're on the air. How can we help you?
Oh, yeah. I established unemployment, and I forgot to certify, and now when I'm trying to call back to certify, they say I need a PIN number, and I've been trying to call, and I can't get through to reestablish my PIN number. What do I do?
I'm as frustrated as you are, and believe it or not, I'm going to send out a plea. Anybody who has someone in your family who works at IDES, convince them to get in touch, Terry at terrysavage.com, because I have received so many posts on my blog, so many emails about situations just like yours. And although I do pass them along to my contact in the communications department at IDES, until someone emails me back and says, thank you, it worked, but that's very few and far between, I might add, I can't be sure that anything is being acted on. So if you know somebody, I will keep it extraordinarily confidential, but I would like very much to be working with someone who could work through back channels with me. Now, there's a plea. The other piece of good news that I hope will be good news is that there are a huge swath of IDES employees are supposed to be called back to work on June 15th, just in a few days next week. And at that point, maybe there'll be a bit of an opening up of the ways to communicate, perhaps through some of the offices, even though they might not take people in the offices. I have some hopes that there will be more people to answer these questions. And the fact is, the savage truth is, I don't know what you're supposed to do. But if you want to send me an email, Terry at terrysavage.com. Every 3 days, I send out an email to my contact with cuts from your emails and your contact information, your email, and if you put a phone number in and your question, and I pass it on in hopes that someone will reach out.
Okay, that was Terry at terrysavage.com.
That's it. I know I'll be swamped. I'm trying, though.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
You bet.
Yeah. Well, at least Terry will read your email. And
Well, that's a lot of good that'll do. I've actually, a couple of people have said, I know someone who works there, I'll give you their number, but everybody is afraid. I keep leaving messages with people at IDES saying, just talk to me. I swear I'll never reveal your name on my
how many people are we talking about? They've got hundreds of employees, right?
They have hundreds of employees, and I have received, certainly 1,000 or more. And the stories that go with them are like this gentleman. He didn't sound like he was in pain. But I have one woman that contacts me every week, and I've passed her information along. She can't buy her medicines. I have other people that first were unemployed and filed in March, and still, they may have gotten a card, but no money comes on. They call to certify, and they call these numbers 100 times a day, and they get cut off immediately after getting through. It is the most, it's just horrible. I can't believe that I can't do something.
And that mistake that he made is the sort of mistake I make every day, that people must be making time and again. They're new to this. You're working with a computer. This is alien to you.
And besides, it's not always a mistake. It's not always that you've made a mistake. Quite frequently, it's just that the system it's so overtaxed that it won't. And we're not even talking about the PUA, which is for self-employed. We're talking about the basic unemployment where people have started filing 8-10 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
And for one reason or another, the system doesn't work for them. They get short-circuited, not through even their own fault.
Well,
and there's no way, and I'm trying desperately. Every day I work on this project.
Gina, you're on WGN Radio with Terry Savage. Go ahead, Gina.
Yeah, hi. I'm calling for my mom. She's a senior citizen, a permanent resident of Florida, but now in the Chicago area for the summer. And on the Get My Payment for her stimulus check, it said it was going to be mailed May 15th. Still hasn't come. We checked with the post office. They said they got special permission to forward those checks. Mm-hmm. And now we checked the Get My Payment again. Now it says that she will get a letter saying she'll need more information, but we still haven't gotten the letter. We just don't know what to do.
Let me back up for 1 second.
IRS. We've emailed her senator.
Well, hold on. Let's let Terry help you out.
First of all, does she get Social Security?
Yes, she does.
Is it direct deposited?
No. Yes, it is.
Okay. Did she file a tax return last year?
She did, but she had to pay. She didn't get a return.
Okay. Well, there are two possibilities here. And this month of June, I think 98% of the Social Security retirement income beneficiaries should receive their stimulus. The ones that are going to receive it from Social Security, which is what they're trying to do, will get it deposited in their accounts in the month of June, not necessarily at the same time as she gets her Social Security benefit. If I were to bet, I would bet that whether she gets her Social Security benefit on the 15th or 18th or 22nd or whatever, that sometime either before or after that, in that same account, you will find her stimulus payment. If not, there are two ways she could get it if it's going to be by mail, and that would only be because she did file a tax return. And that would be either she will get a check or she will get a white envelope with a debit card in it.
Yeah. Watch out for that. It's not junk mail.
Let it play out through the month of June. And that website is just nuts, so don't bother thinking about it. And B, there's no other way to get through to them. So this requires horrible patience. But I'm glad she's living with you so she'll be able to eat.
Gina, thanks for the call. We have time for just a short comment from Clark. Clark, what did you want to say? You're on the air.
Yeah, hi, John. Hey, Terry, this is Clark Beverly calling. I just want to thank you very much for everything that you've done for me to help me get through this IDS stuff. And I just want to thank you publicly. Everybody should know that you do a wonderful job for people. And
thank you so much. We emailed back and forth, and yours was one of the ones I pushed through, and I'm so glad when you emailed me this morning to say you got it. So I can't work wonders, but every once in a while something gets done, and it makes me feel great. And thanks for calling in, Clark. I appreciate it.
If you or someone you know works for IDES in the state, and there must be more than a couple of you out there, we just can't find you, email Terry at terrysavage.com or me, John Williams, at WGNradio.com, and I'll pass your confidential information along to Terry because we just want to ask you how it's going and get some information.
Yeah, no, I really want to talk to that person and keep it a big secret and pass some of these dire, disastrous cases on to see if you can maybe work on them. But again, here's hope. Next week, the IDES is calling a bunch of people back to work, and maybe that will loosen the logjam. I hope so.
Nice to hear your voice today, Terry. Thanks for your help.
Great, John. Thanks.
TerrySavage.com. She's in the Tribune on Mondays and here on Wednesdays, and we're glad you're here too. It's 12:42. It's time for the Wintrust Business Minute.
Wind the clock. It's time for the Wintrust Business Minute, your daily roundup of Chicago area business news. So have you gone back to the stores yet? Retail executives say shoppers are returning to reopen stores faster than they expected. Macy's says sales at reopened stores around the country are down by about half compared with before the pandemic, but they're expecting the drop to be about 85%. AAA says it will invest $1 million on programs aimed at improving social justice and equity. It says it will develop a new division that will be dedicated to promoting racial equity and equality. And Chicago fintech startup M1 Finance has raised another $33 million from investors. M1 Finance is giving people a new way to invest their money. That's the Wintrust Business Minute. I'm Steve Bertrand.
All right, let's check the traffic scene. Lauren Lapka's looking at that for you today.
Yeah, in Newton County, US 41 is still closed between County Road 400 and County Road 600 because of a crash there. There's also a crash in West Chicago at North and Elm. An accident on I-55 is blocking traffic at Blodgett. And inbound on the Stevenson, there's a stalled semi partially blocking the ramp to the inbound side of the Dan Ryan. Lauren Lapka, WGN Traffic Central.
Back to you, Steve Bertrand.
The markets have been mixed today. The Dow Jones Industrial Average down 104 points. Now that's off the low. The NASDAQ up 54 and the S&P 500 down 5.
Orion Samuelson's watching the other markets, the agribusiness scene. Go ahead, Orion.
All right, because it's interesting. The agricultural markets, while they moved up and down, have not had the movements that Wall Street is having. At the moment, the Chicago Board of Trade is reporting September wheat down just 0.5 cents a bushel. The July corn contract is down a penny a bushel, and the July soybean contract trading higher. It's up 2 cents a bushel. That's hardly any movement when you look at some of the daily moves by the stock market. The lean hog contract at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange down 20 cents a hundredweight. The June live cattle contract is up 20 cents a hundredweight, and the August feeder cattle contract down $1.90 a hundredweight. In this unusual season for county and state fairs, we do have virtual county fairs underway, and I don't have time to read all the information on how you do it, but one of the letters from the state 4-H people in Illinois, step 1, keep working on your project. Highly recommend you have your project completed before beginning the submission process. And to get the rest of the details, I'll share some more of them with you on the Saturday morning show. But there are explicit details to participate in a virtual county fair. And speaking of virtual, the Illinois State FFA convention that normally would put 2,000 or 3,000 blue-jacketed FFA members into an auditorium in Springfield, they are making history, and they'll be joined by a lot of other state associations. They are conducting a virtual FFA convention. The officers and the officer election and the speaking contest will all be available by technology. But if you get in touch with your FFA advisor, they'll be able to tell you how to do that. And as we look at some of the other activities, we're continuing to get word on county fair cancellations. We'll share them with you on our Saturday morning show because the list is getting longer. And the summer season is going to be unusual because FFA and 4-H generally use the county fairs to be judged for their annual programs in the two organizations. So stay in touch with your 4-H leaders and your FFA advisors to get the information on that. We're still waiting to hear if the Sandwich Fair is going to be held this year, and we do know the DuPage County Fair will not be held. That has been canceled because of the COVID situation. So that's about all we have. Your money on 720 WGN.
Economic uncertainty can make you feel like your financial well-being is out of your hands. Take back control with 15 times the usual FDIC protection. Wintrust understands the worry an uncertain market can cause and is prepared to provide peace of mind. With a Wintrust MaxSafe account, you can insure your deposits up to $3.75 million. How do they do it? By spreading funds across their 15 separate community bank charters. That's one account with 15 times the coverage. Learn more at wintrust.com/MaxSafe. Member FDIC.
With the recent rains and wet weather, Permaseal is working very hard to help every homeowner in Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana area. But we need your help. Hi, I'm Roy Spencer, president of Permaseal Basement Systems. We're hiring in all departments, especially sales, customer service, and installation. We're looking for people with a great work ethic, who have ambition, a positive attitude, want to learn new skills, and have a desire to make the world a better place. Sound like you? Then go to permaseal.net/careers to apply today. No experience needed. We will teach you to become an expert in waterproofing and foundation repairs. Even if you're not presently looking for another job, I'd encourage you to consider working for Permaseal. We offer great training, year-round work, tremendous growth opportunities, and a great, fun work environment. To apply, go to permaseal.net/careers. If you're looking for a career change or a dry basement, you know who to call. Permaseal. 800-421-7325 or go to permaseal.net.
Permaseal. Well, I'm thinking about it. Maybe you are too. Thanks again to Terry Savage for coming on. And she's got a column, and she sometimes has maybe more reach than you or I do. Her email address is terry@terrysavage.com, and you can always email me, John Williams, at WGNradio.com. I think her plea for somebody at IDES to hear her call was just fascinating and shocking as an illustration of where things are still in the state of Illinois. So if you can do that to either of us, we'll try and be even better communicators of what's going on out there. Terry@terrysavage.com, John Williams at WGNradio.com. At Midwestern University, healthcare education is what they do. Their campus in Downers Grove features 6 colleges, 12 degree programs. Here you will benefit from hands-on training, expert faculty, mentors, and patient-focused programs. You'll also learn side-by-side with students in other health professions, modeling the TREAM approach to the 21st century healthcare practice. Learn more about their programs at midwestern.edu, midwestern.edu. Midwestern University, tomorrow's healthcare team. Today, 12:49, Philip Weiss is on a phone line. Philip's joined us before here on WGN Radio from Safarth at Work. Hi, Philip. Welcome back. You're on WGN. How are you?
Great. Thanks for having me, John.
I think this is the first time you and I have talked. Catch everybody up. What does Safarth at Work do?
Well, Safarth at Work is a training and compliance company, but our real goal is to keep the law simple for people, keep business strategies very user-friendly. So we reduce the complexity of the business day to something people can really use when they run their own companies.
What's an example of that?
It could be anything from dealing with the Me Too movement, which was headlines until recently, to today making sure people return to work safely amid COVID-19. So whatever the risk may look like or whatever the business goal is, we try to make it bite-sized in terms of managers and bosses' application.
You work with HR people then, huh?
We do, as well as CEOs and CFOs. Those are the kind of 3 buckets that we focus on.
What are the challenges these people face as they get ready to reopen their offices?
Well, it's really it's a short question with unfortunately a very long answer for many business owners. This is a really unprecedented moment for business owners. When they dealt with the recession in 2008, Maybe they had to reduce their sales expectations. Maybe they had to engage in layoffs. This is a wholesale different moment in time where every aspect of a company is impacted, from customers to protocols to employees to facilities. And there's a lot of great resources, John, that are out there, checklists, tools, trade associations giving advice. But given how much business owners have to think about, a lot is going to still fall through the cracks. And a lot of the hidden potholes are what we focus on for companies.
What's an example of that?
Well, one might be, we all know it's important to keep people apart, 6 feet, et cetera. We know it's important to keep the facilities clean and sanitized. So spacing and sanitization, that's top of mind. But when it comes to the implementation, John, that's where we see companies falling short. A lot of companies will put arrows, for example, directional signs in their hallways. We've seen this at dozens of our clients. So their employees know to all walk in the same direction. So you don't end up with people going side by side and therefore getting too close to one another. But they don't take the time to actually test their navigation system, so to speak, to see if it really works. So we've had companies tell us, well, you know what? It took 7 minutes for someone to get to the supply closet because we never tested whether we needed to put supplies at 5 different locations as opposed to 2 locations. Another company, John, we had a gentleman a new employee who was confused by a directional sign because it became unmoored, so the arrow ended up pointing in the wrong direction. And he ended up locked in a cooler at a distribution company. And if only they had a map available for him or other guideposts, it would have been far easier for the guy.
I got a text message yesterday from somebody who showed me the sign in their elevator on the floor. Not only does it have the squares in the 4 corners, but it said you are to face the corner of the elevator. What's your reaction to that?
Yeah, so that is one of the better illustrations of why once you set it out, you want to comprehensively walk the path.